Oh, hello, youth. I hope you're enjoying your second week of spring break. I probably would have guessed that you would have liked it under different circumstances, but here we are. I'm definitely going to be missing you guys tonight, so just take care, and I hope you guys are finding things to do and still keeping up on your schoolwork and such. For those of you guys who are maybe adults that are connected to New Life, this is just a little bit of a video for the youth and a little bit of a devotion. So I'm sure for many of you, you're enjoying your time, but it might also be a little bit of a scary time. And I get it with things closing, hearing parents talk, hearing things on the news. You're probably are concerned that about what's going on or what's going to happen in the future. And I get that. And it can be a scary time. I can tell you, though, that it's also a scary time for the adults. You know, we're trying to figure things out. We've never had to face this before. And so we're going to try to make decisions that are going to try to keep you safe and keep you healthy. And sometimes we might make the right decisions. Sometimes we're just going to do our best and, just give your parents and us adults grace. I look forward when we're able to see you again. And we're going to take care of that real soon. But I wanted to talk to you tonight about the church. See, tonight we're not actually going to be able to meet in youth group, and I know on Sunday we're not going to be able to meet as well. And you might be wondering, what's your role as a Christian? How can you live your religion, live your faith if you can't go to church? Well, I want you to understand something. The church is not a building. The church is a people. And it could make you feel sometimes that if you can't get to the church building, then maybe you can't do quote-unquote church things, such as pray, such as get into his word. This is not true, but I can tell you it might make you feel a little powerless. I have to tell you, though, there's a story of a well-known superhero who lost something very special to him, his hammer. And he, too, when he was faced with an overwhelming situation, he didn't know what to do either. And I got a little clip for you. Pastor Joe, he always could figure out technology for stuff like this. So check out this clip.
Even when you had two eyes, you'd see only half the picture.
It's too strong. Without my hammer, I can't.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers? That hammer was to help you control your power, to focus it. It's never your source of strength.
It's too late. She's already taken Asgard.
Asgard is not a place. Never was. This could be Asgard. Asgard is where our people stand. Even now, right now, those people need your help.
I'm not as strong as you.
No. You're stronger.
Now, I love that clip. I love that clip for so many different reasons because it is trying to Odin was trying to let Thor know that his power wasn't from his hammer. It wasn't from things. It was from people around him, that he had it in him all along. It's interesting that when it comes down to it, this is very similar to what's going on with the church right now. Sometimes we think since we can't have our building, we can't be the church. That is not true. You see, the building is a place for us to focus, to be able to learn, to be able to develop. But it was never really our true source of strength. You see, our true source of strength is Jesus Christ. See, in Matthew 16, when Jesus was asking everyone, "Who do you think I am?" Simon Peter says, "You are Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus responded to him saying, "Hey, on what you said, this bedrock on what you said, that I'm the Christ, I will build my church." Now you can find this verse here in Matthew 16, and he goes on and he tells Peter, he goes, "Look," he goes, "I tell you, on this rock of what you said, that Jesus is the Son of God, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not overcome it." You see, youth, your strength is not the building. It's Jesus. And as long as you have him, you can be the church. Because you got to understand, when the church first started, they didn't have a building. They actually met either at the synagogue or people's homes or out in a field. And when you see this in Acts, they kind of describe it off in Acts chapter 2, where they said that they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowshipping and breaking bread and prayers. Now, right now we can't come together and break bread as much, but we can pray for each other. And it goes on and it says that they had all things in common, and they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing them to all who had in need. And day by day, they would attend the temple and breaking bread in their homes, and they received food with gladness of heart, praising God and favor with all the people. Here's the thing. We don't have a temple. We have to stay in our homes. But you know what? We have this technology right now. We got ways where we can still become the church. And really, we have to understand this is only for a short amount of time. We can never stop being the church. You must understand something. Buildings will come and go. They will open and close. Program and services will change. But the church never will if we remember who Jesus is. And remember to care for our neighbors. So youth, I want to give you a couple of things here. I want to give you at least 3 ways that you can continue to still be the church even in your own homes. The first one is help your parents and your younger siblings. Do household chores. Call your grandparents. They may not have been able to get anywhere. They're probably feeling even more alone than they usually do. And call them and see how they are doing. Ask them if they need anything. You see, when you can do things at home for your family and do it with a good attitude, you could be the church to your family. You can also pray with younger brothers and sisters who might be worried, who might be scared. And I can tell you that sometimes an older sibling can make all the difference in giving a young one some strength. So be the church to your family. 2, be the church to your fellow youth and your fellow students. Text and call people. I'm sure you already have. But you know what? Instead of telling them how much you are bored or you don't like what's going on, maybe ask them what they're doing. How are they doing? Are they okay? You can also send encouraging things, send and funny memes. You can also pray with them. Now, how do you do this? Well, we have this technology. Many of you have FaceTime or a FaceTime type program. Get on FaceTime with a fellow Christian friend of yours and pray for your family, pray for the nation, pray for the church, and pray for whatever is going on in your mind. You can still take prayer requests. So these are many different ways that what you can do to be the church to your fellow youth. Some of you are musicians, and I've seen you post things all the time of you playing on the guitar or playing various musics or even lip syncing. Maybe find a worship song or two and do a little clip of that and send it to some of your fellow youth. Or maybe that might be a chance to be a witness to your fellow friends. Be the church to your fellow youth. The third way is serve in any way you can. Now, yes, you got to take the government and doctors and the CDC's recommendations of trying to maintain some social distances. But this is where you may have to think outside the box of what you can do to help your community, your family, and maybe even the people around you. If you have a neighbor who is elderly, maybe give them a call and see if there's anything that they need. And if you have your parents' permission, maybe you and your parent, or you, if you're old enough, go to the store and get them some supplies. Or simply just go into their front yard and pull some weeds. They would greatly enjoy that. And you don't ever have to kind of actually come in contact with them. This is one way that you can maintain a service to your family and to your neighbors around you. Many of your neighbors might have recycling bins. You can pull them out and put them back. You can take out their trash, give them a call and saying, hey, leave your trash out in your front or by your back door and I'll go take it out for you. Think outside the box. There's many ways you can serve and be part of the church. If you come up with some of your ideas of your own youth, hey, I really would encourage you to text them to me or even leave them on these comments of things that you can do. Hey, you guys, I don't want to keep you too long, but I want you to realize that when times are kind of precarious as they are, you can always go to Christ. This is your source of strength, and this is your source of strength at the church. I truly believe that the youth really can lead in times like this. So do what you can. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Unfortunately, we can't do that cup your hands thing, for a while, but we'll get back to it when it's safe. But I'll tell you, pray. Tell God what you're feeling. Tell God what you're thinking. And think outside the box. How can you be the church to your family? How can you use technology to be the church to your friends? And what can you do safely for your neighbors? And when you do all these things, we are continuously living the great commandment of loving God with everything that we have and loving our neighbor as ourselves. So youth, whenever you see this, feel free to comment below or give some of your ideas, and we'll do this again sometime. So be safe, and if you need anything at all, feel free to text me or IN me. Apparently, sorry, not IM, DM. I still get that wrong. You can tell I'm getting older. All right, you guys. You have a great night.